Hello everyone, this is Adrian and I want to show you a few updates that we brought to the UI of Avil. So the last time I was here, I showed you kind of this UI and it was still, a little bit shaky. Like it kind of looked like this, but the color scheme and theme switcher wasn't looking as good or had as much functionality. The breadcrumbs were broken. What else? A lot of miscellaneous, layout glitches. The buttons were a little bit different. The drop downs were different. So now let me show you what progress did we make. So a new fresh layer of paint on the breadcrumbs. So now they are a little bit more aware of the context. So you'll see that every resource gets a kind of like an avatar, which is the initial, so P for project, and then each record gets an avatar as well. So in this case, a project does not have an avatar, but let's go to a user, and a user does have an avatar. So let me go and show you what that looks like. So in user resources, in the same way that we have self.title and description, now we also have avatar, and we have like a source option, and you can use any active storage, attachment, or in this case, we're using record.avatar. And if I go to the actual model, it will show you, avatar. It'll show you a gravatar actually. So it feeds off of a URL. And now this avatar not only shows up here in the record page, but it also shows up in the breadcrumbs. So it gets a little bit more dynamic and more context aware. And similarly, when we go to a nested record, we kind of see, okay, users, Eric, we see the avatar, then projects, then C for Cardify. And if the projects would have an avatar themselves, that would show up here. And this is actually the first iteration, so you can go back, but the second iteration should have this extra button on the side where you could see maybe the last users or the last records, and maybe the ability to create a new one. This is something that I always needed, like when I was inside a project. Okay, maybe I need to create a new user and I have to go back to users and then create and so on. So the second one would be a little bit more interactive, let's call it. Cool. So that's that. Another thing that changed was the buttons. They've got a new, again, brush of paint, and they look a little bit better. I'm going to go into this, semi-hidden kind of page where design, where we have, this is mostly for us, but we have all of the buttons. This is the primary style with all of the colors, color, hover, active, disabled, how they would look like. This is the outline. Currently, I think it's called a secondary, but now it's going to be called the outline. And then we have the text style of a button, and then smaller sizes as well. So they will look much, much better. We're still working on this. We're kind of trying to figure out, what's the best way. Should we go a little bit skeuomorphic and have it? Let me just go back and have it, with a little bit of a shadow here, like Shopify does this. Maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But definitely an improvement over the old ones. All of the colors from Tailwind are supported, so that's some good news there. What else? The layout has gotten a few improvements as well. So you might notice that the label on the field wrapper, they're now not uppercase anymore. Now they're, sentence case, which is, a softer kind of approach. And again, a lot of changes here, like kind of the icons have been brushed, they're a little bit better. Now, instead of using hero icons, we're using Tabler, and there are 5,000 icons, and they all look good. They all look, kind of the same. And we kind of like that, the fact that we can find different types of icon. Like, for example, for edit, we have a few icons to choose from, while from hero icons we had a few less ones. And the same with kind of the views, the grid or like list or table. Hero icons didn't have all those. We still love them. They're still supported within our icons. In case you didn't know about this gem of icons, it just exposes the hero icons and the table icons, and a nice cached inline SVG helper for you to actually use really, really quick. So yeah, this is it. What else? The next thing we're going to tackle is the actual sidebar. Another thing we did was the overflow status here. So before, this whole card, this white card, would move up and down, and it would go over the top, the color theme switcher, and then the link here, like the avocado delicious one. And if you have, the global search here, that would be covered as well. And we now opted for this kind of design where everything scrolls inside this page. I don't love it because it takes a little bit of engineering to make sure everything scrolls nicely here, and you still have the footer here at the end, and everything is nicely spaced out. And one of the things that I don't like is the fact that the scroll position does not get the browser doesn't remember the scroll position inside this, because the actual page is not actually moving, but it's actually the content inside this white kind of container. Well, we'll figure it out. We have a few other layout options on our hands in Figma, so we'll see if we jump on those. So we talked a lot about the breadcrumbs. We talked about the buttons. Let's talk a little bit about the discrete information feature, because it has received an improvement as well. And now we simplified a lot of the options. Before we had ID text, ID badge, ID, like a lot of things. Now we have ID, and ID will be rendered. We have three types of ways of rendering. One is text, one is badge, and one is key value, which gives you this kind of like two in one kind of I don't know, what should I call it, component thing. And it's just perfect for things like create a dat and update a dat, where you have like a key, like label, and then a value. The icon, again, you can add titles on each one. You can add links to them, so it's all good. It just looks, I think, much better and much more polished. We have a few things that are pre-built. For example, the ID will give you this whole thing. If you set it to, actually, let me show you the docs really quick. Version 4, discrete information. So we have ID. Let me just move this closer. So we have ID, which is this one, timestamps, which is this one. It'll give you like one icon with both timestamps at the top. We have created that and updated that, which will give you these key value. And then you can have other things which you can totally customize using label, title, icon, URL, target, and many other options. Yep. We have the drop downs here. I don't have them merged, but we have them in new PR, so these look much better. What else? Yes, one of the cool things that we implemented, I know everybody wants this, it's theming. So theming and color schemes. And we have, I want to say a surprise. So now we support dark mode if you need that. So we have this color scheme switcher, so you can go auto. Now I'm in dark, and or light or dark, and everything reacts to it. Of course, don't look at this sidebar because we still need to work on this. But now we have an official dark mode. Not only that, but we also have, right now we have only 3 options, but we'll have different tones of the neutral color. So if I go back to white, then you see stone. If I go back to brand, it gets a little bit darker. Let me just go to users, because I think it's going to be a little bit easier to see. So now it gets a little bit lighter. Slate gives it a little bit of bluish. Okay, so if you want to check this one, so if you're paying attention, this one, the breadcrumbs react as well. So slate is a little bit bluish. If I go to brand, which is gray, now this is gray. So many things inside the UI kind of react to all of these. So if I go back to slate again, this is a little bit of a bluish hover. Actually, I don't know if this one is a little bit bluish hover, and then this kind of panel reacts to that. So now, see, if I just toggle between, and we'll have all of those grays, and they'll be totally customizable for you. And then the next bit about theming is selecting the primary color. And right now we're on neutral, so nothing, and this button is actually black. But if I go to red, this becomes red, the text becomes red, this becomes red, this becomes red, and some other things like I think the links become red as well on hover, and same like if I go to sky, and now everything becomes sky, and you get the point. Rose and green, and you can choose and pick and choose your kind of colors. And the way we do this is all through CSS variables, so you can take control over those. We'll probably have a little bit of a theme editor at the end. One bit about the story that we don't have yet is how are we going to store these, because this is a nice picker to play around with, and they get stored in the session. But we probably need to have these persistent somehow. We'll see. We'll figure it out, because some people want to keep it in a database, some in the session, some in Redis. I don't know. The sky is the limit. So we need to figure out one way of doing all of those things. But we're quite happy of the way everything looks and works, and how everything reacts to the neutrals and the colors. Actually, I'll probably make another video or an article about how we built all of this. It's actually just playing with a little bit of CSS variables and Figma tokens. So yeah, this is what we have so far, and we have a lot of under the hood improvements, a lot of like the field wrapper, for example. Here we need to still tweak it a little bit because it's too freaking tall. So it's too tall. It's 60, and this one is even taller. Oh, now, yeah, we introduced this help message. Before, we actually had one help here, which would show up only on edit, but we needed one that was a little bit more persistent. So we've seen other platforms do this. So now you can do that. So a lot of things that we tweaked and we changed, and like this switcher here, and we still have a lot of work to do. Like, you see these are still the old ones. These are the old ones. Yeah. But yeah, it's coming together quite nicely. We quite love the new features, the new touches, and we hope you will like them too. So if you have any feedback about this, definitely write to us anywhere, on email, on GitHub, on Discord. We definitely want to hear your voice. What else? We are shooting for an open beta in February. So, fingers crossed with that. Yeah, and that's about it. Thanks for being with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.